Available in paperback and e-readers, Isis, Dark Incubus. The goddess next door gets enthralled in a romantic entanglement with an evil incubus in this all-new Isis series adventure. Get your copy of Isis, Dark Incubus in paperback and e-readers today. I was watching a Mad Black 80 video where he was talking about the NFL draft. And as he talked about the NFL draft, he talked about how many of these black male players who are a part of the NFL draft were getting caught up in relationships with these white women. And as they got caught up in these relationships with these white women, they were bragging about how they had these Beckys on their arm, similar to the way that many of the swirlers and divestors brag about the white men that they have relationships with. And as I was listening to Mad Black 80, I started to see a bigger picture as related to these white women being involved with these black men. And the bigger picture is one where many of these spellbound black males who are desperately looking to fit into the black box that's acceptable to white people that I talk about in my novel, Spellbound. Many of these black males, they're so desperate to fit into this black box that's acceptable to white people that they can't see the subtle politics transpiring around them as related to their money. Now, when it comes to many of these black males who are getting involved with these white women, they are young and extremely naive, and because many of them come from single mother households, they really don't have that black man there to give them guidance or advice in order to be able to build the life that they're going to start. And because they don't have that black man to teach them how to build a life or teach them to empower themselves, this puts them at a great disadvantage when they enter into the real world, which is filled with white supremacy. And because these black males have no real understanding of the subtle politics of white supremacy, what's happening to these black males right now is that they're playing a chess game that they're going to lose because they've been given a Candyland card in the form of a white female who is definitely not looking to be a helpmeet to this black male. No, this white female, she's out here looking to help the system of white supremacy, and sadly the black male is so spellbound by those crystal blue eyes and that creamy white skin and that long blonde hair that he cannot see the bigger picture as related to his own economic survival. And sadly, because this black male doesn't really understand that big picture, because at 18, 19, 20, 21 years old, he's too young to understand the bigger picture as related to building wealth. He doesn't see how he's basically being undermined by the same slave masters on the NFL plantation who would want to see him get rich in the short term but not be wealthy in the long term. And this is what happens to many of these black male NFL players. What the white supremacist really wants to do on the NFL slave plantation is basically gas this black male up on his feelings about his athletic ability, stroke his ego as related to his prowess on the field, and then as he's gassed up and it's his ego stroked, what they do is add a turbocharger to it by getting a group of white females to go and be in his presence, bring these white females in his presence, so that as he's out here thinking he's great, what he's thinking is that he's so great that as the white females start paying attention to him, his head gets so gassed from being turbocharged by the attention he's receiving from this white female that he's not really thinking about empowering himself as a black man. And like O.J. Simpson, who came before them, who recently passed away, what's happening to these NFL players is that they are getting so gassed up and turbocharged as related to the attention they're getting from these white females that they're not really, again, thinking critically about looking to build their wealth as a black man. And that's what the white supremacist wants to do when it comes to these black male football players, because they saw a generation ago with O.J. Simpson's generation, many black players were looking to build wealth outside of the black community, and there were many players who went out here, and as they got their NFL salaries, what they did was go out and open up auto dealerships. They opened up fast food restaurants. They built stocks and bonds. They built economic assets for themselves, and they created wealth for themselves. But what they want to do, and white supremacy, is cut that off at the knees before these black males even make the first penny on their NFL contracts. They saw 40 to 50 years ago many of these black male NFL players going out here opening up Kentucky Fried Chickens, opening up McDonald's, opening up Burger Kings, opening up Chevy dealerships, and building a wealth base for themselves to have a revenue stream that would make them money after their careers ended. But the white supremacist doesn't want to see any black person having that type of economic power. So what they're doing now is looking to take away a black man's economic power by getting him spellbound early on in his career, focused on being rich, but not focused on being wealthy. But what they want to do is get this guy mesmerized by the money that he's getting as related to this contract, thinking that he's got lots of money, not understanding that in order to maintain that money, you have to have revenue coming in. But what these guys, again, don't understand is, yeah, you're making $1 million, you're making $20 million right now, but you won't be making that later on in your career as your health starts to decline, and your career could basically end in a year or even 3 to 5 years, and you won't have a cushion to land on because these guys are so spellbound trying to go out here and clout chase and play like celebrities, buying expensive mansions, going out here buying expensive cars like Rolls Royces, going out here and having expensive parties, all with this white female on his arm. And as the white female is on his arm, he's not really thinking critically about building an economic base that will have the money working for him. No, he's working for the money, not seeing how white supremacy is basically working him over to be a slave who will be working himself to death on the NFL slave plantation. That's what's going on here with many of these players who are out here acting like swirlers and divestors, thinking they've arrived, not understanding that the white supremacist is making a plan to make sure you go nowhere economically, and make sure you go nowhere economically because what they want to do is cut you off from the ability to make tangible wealth by getting you caught up in your emotions about the attention white people are paying you, and getting caught up in the fact that you believe that a white woman is attracted to you, when in actuality the white woman isn't attracted to you. No, not at all. No, when it comes to this white female, she is attracted to the resources that were given to you by the slave master in the NFL ownership, and she's looking to get some crumbs from the master's table at the black man's expense, whether it be him popping a bottle or going someplace with her where she can go with him, or in the most extreme case, she's looking to go out here and get married to this black man. And as she looks to get married to this black man, she's already planned for the divorce, where she's looking to get herself a nice alimony check, a nice child support payment, and this black man is going to go from being a rich black male to being a poor one because he doesn't understand what they want to do is be able to take your ability to make money away from you. Yes, the white supremacists will give you money in the short term, but they're looking to profit in the long term by yanking the rug out from under the black man. But many black males, again, they're not really good critical thinkers as related to money. No, they're just so caught up in the attention and fame they're receiving from the white population that they're not understanding that the system of white supremacy is anti-black. And even on the NFL slave plantation, they don't really see a black person as having value to them at all. No, many of these black folks, they don't understand this at all. And while these guys are out here acting like a hashtag divester, they don't see how the white supremacist system basically is looking to yank the rug out from under them the same way it does the swirler and the divester in the black community. What they want to do with the NFL player is create an economic disaster similar to the divestment disaster many black women run into, and it really is just as devastating to the black male player the same way it is devastating to the black woman, because with the black man, there's nobody there to take care of that black man when he gets older as related to his economic needs. There is no one there to take care of him as related to his economic needs. And as the pressures get on that black man as related to this woman, in some cases wanting alimony and child support, he basically winds up fiscally overwhelmed because he didn't take the time to go out here and pursue investments as related to taking care of himself in the future. No, when it comes to the black male, he's not focused on black empowerment, and that's what leads to him winding up losing at the end of his NFL career, and leads to many NFL players winding up being broke in less than 5 years, because unlike the people who came up in the era of the baby boomer and some Gen Xers, those players understood this money ain't gonna last forever, and they need to find a way to continue making this money. But many of these young players, because they come from single mother households, they can't figure out the chess game or the subtle politics transpiring around them. No, many of these players basically are ones that the white supremacist chose deliberately because he was looking for people he could get 7 steps ahead of. And like Mad Black A talked about, they look for guys who aren't too bright. They look for guys who have no sense of awareness about themselves, guys whose egos could easily be stroked by being told what they want to hear, similar to that of the black females who were swirlers and divestors. And as these guys get told what they want to hear, what happens to many of these black males is these males wind up holding up a green card for Candyland, not seeing the chess moves being made by white supremacy that are designed to economically checkmate them and put them back in the same state of poverty they came out of when these recruiters were looking for them. They don't understand how what the white supremacist wants to do is be able to take their prime years, get the most labor out of them, and then after getting the most labor out of these black male players, what they want to do is return them back to the ghetto with the same amount of nothing that they had, and the only thing that they have at the end of their lives are a bunch of memories of stuff that they had but weren't able to keep, and are not able to keep it because what happened to these males is they never learned how to navigate life as a man. They never learned how to navigate life as a man in many cases because they did not have a father there to teach them how the world worked. Because if you have a father in your life, he can teach you how the world works. But they don't want those black men who have fathers in their lives in places like the NFL or the workplace, because those men are working on building wealth. They're working on developing fixed tangible assets that will allow them to generate revenue outside of their job and have that revenue streams there that can make them money while they're passively sitting there, have them making revenue as related to their business ventures, because many smart men, we understand that the job is, again, only one source of income. You want more than one, and you want more than one because if you have a strong economic base of tangible assets, you can go out and be able to take care not only of yourself, but take care of your family. And you can go out here and be able to have resources that will take care of you when you get older. That's what you want as related to building your life. You want to build something, but with many of these black male players, many of them, they really don't understand things. And Mr. Superboy talked about this a long time ago, about how many of these players, again, they don't know what's going on around them. And again, the NFL bosses and owners choose people they can get in front of. They can read people and see who is out here being real dumb and is just caught up in the glamour and the fame and not really thinking about building anything. They choose these individuals deliberately because they know this individual is somebody they can get in front of. They know that this is somebody they can go out here and get in front of and tell them what they want to hear so that they can go out here and make money on them on the back end. And on the front end, he's thinking he's rich, but he's losing out on his wealth base. That's what they want to do, and that's why they choose certain black people to go out here and be their patsies. And that's what we're seeing with many of these black male players who are sitting up there with the Becky on their arm, this white woman, thinking, oh, she likes me. Oh, she wants to be with me. Oh, she's better. No, what she is put there to be deliberately there. She's put there to deliberately be there to basically ferret information back to these white owners and allow them to be able to implement the checkmate on that black man, and implement that checkmate on that black man who is just so caught up in his emotions about how much money he's got, when the whole thing is they want to take that money from you. And they want to take that money from you because for the white supremacists, it's all about the punchline of the cruelest of cruel jokes. And that cruel joke is very similar to what I talked about in my novel, The Temptation of John Haynes, where Lucifer made John Haynes a CEO of a corporation and had him living in a penthouse with Esteem, a she-demon. And the ultimate punchline that was going to be set up on John Haynes was Esteem looking to, again, sleep with him and reveal herself as a demon. But the whole scheme basically fell apart because Esteem was inspired by John Haynes' example of Christ. But the whole thing is, a lot of these NFL players don't have that example. No, a lot of them are caught up in the world. And as they start trying to get involved with this Becky and look to become one with this Becky, white supremacy looks to take their ability to make a living away from them and have them jammed up with child support, have them jammed up with alimony payments, have them jammed up with all sorts of fiscal issues instead of being able to live a financial abundant life. Many of these guys, they wind up thinking they're coming out of the ghetto, but wind up sent right back because they can't see the big picture as related to the game the white supremacist is playing, and can't see the game that the white supremacist is playing because many of these guys, again, they are raised by single mothers, they're emotional, they're not really smart as related to critical thinking, and what happens is they think, oh, I got the white girl on my arm, I must be somebody, not understanding for the white supremacist like Lucifer with Esteem. He was just basically, he sees these white women as cannon fodder, and he'll sacrifice 100 of them to destroy one black man, and he'll sacrifice them basically because many of these black males are complete. He knows that they're spellbound. He knows that they buy into these narratives about white females being better, and he'll give you the white woman for a moment to make sure that he can destroy your life for a lifetime. I mean, he'll give you this white woman. He'll sacrifice, again, 100 white women to destroy the careers of a black man so that he can get the punchline done as related to that joke he has, as related to black men not being smart, not being successful, and not being able to take power, because they rarely ever choose black men to play in sports who are ones who are self-aware, ones that talk about black empowerment or talk about building wealth. I mean, sadly, many black males just don't connect the dots on these NFL slave plantations, NBA slave plantations, and other sports plantations to see the big picture. And sadly, what happens is these guys wind up in an economic disaster on the level of the divestment disaster that destroys many of these black swirlers and many of the passport bros who wind up traveling into an economic disaster. Now, if you want to learn how many black people wind up getting spellbound, you can pick up my novel, Spellbound, which will explain to you the black box that many black people want to fit in to be acceptable to white people, that keeps them from growing and actualizing their potential. And if you want to learn about the whole scam that leads to many black men getting jammed up, where they put women in front of the black man to ruin his life, you can pick up my novel The Temptation of John Haynes on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find The Temptation of John Haynes at other online booksellers like Smashwords, the iBookstore, Google Play, and Barnes & Noble. And if you'd like to see me make more videos talking about different topics, you can send a donation to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and e-readers, John Haynes' Illuminati, the man who rules the world, takes on the head of the global elite in this all-new action-packed John Haynes series adventure. Get your copy of John Haynes' Illuminati in paperback and e-readers at Amazon.com and online booksellers everywhere. Coming to paperback and e-readers, Esteem Horror in the Hamptons. The aspiring angel tries to escape a house of horrors in this all-new Esteem series adventure. Pre-order your copy of Esteem Horror in the Hamptons in digital format at Amazon.com, Google Play, Draft2Digital, and other digital booksellers, or pick up your paperback copy on May 24th. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.